gonna sing a new song in the hinterland garden. We're gonna make a new song in the hinterland garden. In Eureka, Lord, it won't be long. Jesus make a new song in the hinterland garden. Hey, brothers and sisters of the Hinterland Chapel, grace and peace be with you this day. This is the song that we sang the last week or two, inspired by Psalm 136. We give thanks to the Father, for He is good. His love endures forever, love endures forever. He made a way but we never could. His mercy lives forever, mercy lives forever. Our fears, we lay them down. Our tears, we lay them down. Right here on Bunjalong ground, Lord, we lay it down, lay it all down. Right here, right now. Even when we're not together, even in our breakdowns, His love endures forever. Even in our heartaches, even in our changing weather, even in our mistakes, His love endures forever. Oh, hallelujah. We give thanks to the Father, for He is good. Forever, love endures forever. He made a way that we never could. His mercy lives forever, mercy lives forever. Our tears, we lay them down. Our fears, we lay them down. Right here on Bunjalong ground, Lord, we lay it down, lay it all down. Right now, even in our meltdowns, even when we think we're clever, even though we're spellbound, His love endures forever. Even when our minds doubt, even when we strain at the tether, let our hearts shout, His love endures forever. His love endures forever. Thanks to the Father, for He is good. His love endures forever, love endures forever. He made a way that we never could. His mercy lives forever, mercy lives forever. Our fears, we lay them down. Our tears, we lay them down. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now.
Hi friends, welcome to another Chapel Online. I pray that wherever you are today, that this message is an encouragement to you. And I would also encourage you to take the initiative to be reaching out to one another, whether it be calling or texting, just making sure that everyone's okay and still feeling part of the community during this difficult and challenging time. Today I want to talk to you about an image that Jesus gives us right towards the end of the Sermon on the Mount. The Sermon on the Mount it's Jesus' way of describing what life in the kingdom of God is like. It's his way of describing human flourishing. It's his way of articulating what the life of God is like in the kingdom. And right towards the end of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus describes this picture of a narrow gate and a wide gate. It's in Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 to 14, if you'd like to follow along. Jesus says this, "Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way that leads to life, and there are few who find it." This comes right, remember, at the end of Jesus describing what life in the kingdom is like. And he says to experience this, it's going to be like going through a narrow gate. When I was younger, I used to think this narrow gate meant believing the right things. But I've since come to understand that that is not what Jesus is talking about. The gate is narrow and it's hard to enter, not because the moral standards are so stringent or the required knowledge is so specific. It's hard to enter because you can't get through with all of your stuff. Now, I don't know if you've ever been caving, where you enter into a cave, and as you descend down into it, the cave walls often come in closer and closer and closer until you get to a point where you're struggling to fit through. And perhaps you've got a big caving or mountaineering backpack on, and you've got like an abseiling rope and maybe a torch and a first aid kit and like a pack of Doritos and some Solo, all the essentials for caving. And you get to this point where you go, I can't fit through this narrow gap with this backpack on. And you have to make a choice. If you want to experience what's on the other side of this narrow passage, you have to take your backpack off. And in a way, Jesus is saying that here. He's saying the path that leads to the real life, the life that I have described, is narrow. And it's not that it's impossible to enter. You can get through it. In fact, it's the perfect size for you to get through. But it's not big enough for you plus something else. It's not big enough for you plus all of your baggage. It's not big enough for you and, say, a suitcase that's full of anger. It's not big enough for you and a backpack that's been stuffed full of resentment. You're not going to fit if you've got a whole lot of shopping bags of self-righteousness. And even if you've got shoe boxes, like stuffed full of self-centeredness that you got on special, even they won't fit through. It's only big enough for you. See, you can carry all the stuff that you want through the wide gate, by all means. Get all the shopping, all the baggage, like stuff that backpack full of resentment. Maybe you've got like a cargo bag full of offense. You might even want to hire a trailer and fill it up with stuff, because this wide gate, this is like a 4-lane highway. It's easy. It's cruise control on. Everyone takes it. If you want to go that way, great. But Jesus says, do you know what? That road, it leads to misery. It leads to loneliness. It leads to broken relationships. And ultimately, it leads to destruction. If you want to know what real life is, liberating life of Jesus, if you want to know what life in the kingdom with God is like, you're going to have to get rid of your stuff. And Jesus is saying that this path is hard to find. Okay, it's narrow, but why is it hard to find? Well, this narrow gate, right, this isn't specific knowledge. This way is in fact the way of Jesus. It's the teachings and the pattern and the lifestyle and the rhythm of Jesus. It's his way. And the way of Jesus is the way of love. And friends, love often looks like losing. And so people don't find it because who wants to lose? No one wants to lose, all right? I want to take the winning road. I don't want to take the road of loss, of letting go. But Jesus is saying this is the way to real life. Love often looks like losing. Jesus could have ridden into Jerusalem on a war horse. He could have been crowned king. He could have received military honors. He could have, it could have been good in a way, he could have enacted revenge and retaliation against this oppressive empire that was crushing his people. I mean, who doesn't have revenge fantasies, right? Of just ways we'd love God to just smite someone who's really annoying us. Wouldn't that be an easy road to take? And Jesus takes a different path. He humbles himself and he rides in on a donkey. I mean, that's not impressing anyone. And then he allows himself to be captured. And even while these people are murdering him on a cross, when he could have, the scriptures say, called down legions of angels to take them out, what does he do? He prays for his murderers. He prays for the people who were killing him, that they would be forgiven. This looks like losing. Who would choose this? See, the way of Jesus is so countercultural to the way of the world that it looks foreign and it looks like losing. But Jesus says this is what the kingdom of God is. It's upside down from the way of the world. That's why Jesus says, you know what? If you want to experience real life, you can't hold on to your life. He says the one who holds on to their life, invariably they'll lose it. But the one who lets go of their life for my sake, well, they will find it. Jesus says, if you come after me, you're going to have to take up your cross. Because, friends, real love looks less like a Hollywood movie and it looks more like a cross. Jesus says, why would you get all of this stuff, right? All of this baggage. You could gain the whole world and forfeit the very essence of who you are. Why would you do that? There is going to come a time where you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to let go of your baggage? And see, it's going to feel like losing, and it's going to feel, to start with, like dying even. Because some of you have been carrying your stuff for so long that you've grown accustomed to it. You know that backpack with offense and resentment that's so heavy? Well, you've actually adapted the way that you move and you walk according to its weight. So as you start to take it off, it's going to hurt and it's going to ache. And in some weird, perverse way, this stuff has been comforting you. And so to give it up, it's going to feel like losing. But Jesus is pretty clear. This is the path to life. And few people choose it. It's difficult and it's narrow. Because the way of Jesus is the way of love, and love feels like losing. Now, some of you may feel like over the last weeks and months that you've been losing quite a lot, that you've lost a lot, that perhaps your faith is only just hanging on. So for you, I have a slightly different message. If you've got this far through and you're still watching, this message is for you. Jesus says in John 15, "You didn't choose me, I chose you, and I have anointed you to bear much fruit." Jesus is saying, I know you feel like your faith is only just hanging on by a thread. I know you feel like you're not sure if you can keep going, but I want you to know that you didn't choose me. I actually chose you. You have been before me your whole life, and I have appointed you to bear much fruit. You see, our relationship with Jesus is far more about his faithfulness than it is our faithfulness. We have free will. We can choose to walk away. But even if we're just hanging on by a thread, Jesus says that's enough, because I actually chose you. It's going to be okay. I don't lose any that have been given to me, says Jesus. I am the good shepherd. The scriptures say how after loving those who were with him in the world, he loved them to the very end. And he will love you faithfully to the very end. He will see this out. He will see you through this time. His love endures. His mercies are new every morning. His faithfulness, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. He chose you, and he has appointed you to bear much fruit. He doesn't call you servant, he calls you friend. He commands us to love one another, and he will be with us to the very end. Take heart, friends. Take heart. His love endures forever.
We give thanks to the Father, for he is good. His love endures forever. Love endures forever. He made a way that we never could. His mercy lives forever. Mercy lives forever. Our fears, we lay them down. Our tears, we lay them down. Right here on Bundjalung ground, Lord, we lay it down, lay it all down. Right here, right now. Even in our lockdowns, even when we're not together, even in our breakdowns, his love endures forever. Even in our heartaches, even in our changing weather, even in our mistakes, his love endures forever. Oh, hallelujah. We give thanks to the Father, for he is good. His love endures forever. Love endures forever. He made a way that we never could. His mercy lives forever. Mercy lives forever. Our tears, we lay them down. Our fears, we lay them down. Right here on Bundjalung ground, Lord, we lay it down, lay it all down. Right here, right now. Even in our meltdowns, even when we think we're clever, even though we're spellbound, his love endures forever. Even when our strain at the tether, let our hearts shout. His love endures forever. His love endures forever. We give thanks to the Father, for He is good. His love endures forever. Love endures forever. He made a way that we never could. His mercy lives forever. Mercy lives forever. Our fears we lay them down. Our tears we lay them down. Right here on Bunjalong ground, Lord, we lay it down, lay it all down. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now.